Welcome, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to do a quick shout out and let you know a little bit about our room today. This is phase 2 from yesterday. I'm super excited to have this room going, and I am doing this live with my friend and co-moderator slash co-podcaster, however you want to call it, and Sujata, who has accumulated a wealth of experience during her life, leading to insights and knowledge that cannot be coached or taught in a class. She is a mother, a wife, a journalist, a consultant, an activist, a leader, and a businesswoman domestically and internationally. In sharing her story, Sujata strives to provide readers of all backgrounds and listeners of all backgrounds in any part of the world with real life examples on how to deal with the unpredictable nature of everyday life. And, we had this room up and running yesterday, and we just had such a wonderful conversation. We're excited to continue to have the conversation grow and experience on top of hard work. Is it overrated? What are we looking at in this day and age? What is hard work? How do we relate to it? So we are inviting people to come up on stage. We're broadcasting this live, as well as here on Clubhouse, and keeping the replays. And the idea for us is we want to promote, provoke, and enjoy a tremendous amount of conversation geared around the positive and the negative of hard work, and people taking advantage of it, people not getting paid what they're worth, people saying they're going to do something and then they don't do it, or they think, well, I hard worked once, so I should be paid forever. In other words, not continuing to demonstrate what they were hired for. So many times they sucker an owner into hiring them. They produce for a week, and then when nobody's watching, they turn into the biggest slackers of the company. And so we want to continue to dig into this conversation about hard work. And I'm super excited about how this conversation could continue to grow and expand, because I think I definitely see this specific topic maybe even stretching into next week's podcast. And so for those of you in the audience, whether you're new, whether you're not following any of us up on stage, we want to invite you to come up. We want to hear your opinions, even if the opinions are different than ours. That's what makes this great. And one of the things that you can count on, and why I've chosen to do this particular podcast in this room, the 24-hour Bible study, is because I'm committed that people know that this is a very safe space. And whether you have my point of view or Sujata's point of view or a completely different point of view, we are here to honor you, to appreciate you. And, we expect that kind of reciprocation in being honorable and keeping the tone down. I mean, if you get excited, great. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not going to turn this into a yelling pitch fest. I'm right, you're wrong. Nope. We're here to create a space of workability. Because I tell you what, if we had 10 different points of view at the end of an hour podcast with 10 different points of view, I can tell you this, without a doubt, no hands barred, my point of view will have moved and be different than it was when this room started. How do I know that? Because I know the way life works. I'm going to hear things from people from their point of view, that I wasn't able to see before. And with that information, I'm not going to be stupid and just throw it away. I'm going to level up. And I know that's a term that people throw around a lot. And here, I'm not only throwing it, I'm basically stamping it into the ground, because it is something that I know to be true and authentic. And as a business coach, life coach, integrity coach, communication coach, whatever kind of coach you want to call me, I take coaching and take contribution and add it to my bucket. Doesn't matter where I'm at. So with that, I'd love to pass the mic to my sister from another mother and have her share. Maybe even she'll recap some of her experience of yesterday, and we'll get the engines running.
The coach who's always in the learning mode. That's what I like about Coach Les. So humble and doesn't shy away from learning from others, and gives honor and respect to each and every person that is in the room with him, and I'm sure he does it outside the room as well. So uh, this is a very interesting topic, and it's happening all the time. We see around us people who work very hard, don't get what they deserve in terms of being paid. And then we also have the end of the spectrum where people hardly work, sometimes not because they are working smartly. Of course, the ones who work smartly and have understood how to work smartly, they also make a lot of money. But there are also people who hardly work, who are mediocre in their ways of working, and they seem to also benefit. Whereas the honest people who walk the extra mile and who work hard don't always get the appreciation or the recognition that they deserve. So there are a lot of issues with it, because it's not about an individual how we work. It's also about organizations. It's about governments who decide on the pay structure, on who to pay, what to pay, how to pay. So yeah, that's a lot of it, and it's a very interesting topic, and I'm looking forward to continuing the conversation.
Hmm. Thank you so much, Sujata. And with that, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Joey and hear his recap of yesterday.
Yeah, hey, Coach. Great to be here. I was actually just on Facebook watching you guys. So, what a great! I want to just acknowledge the platform that you guys have here, and what you guys are doing with StreamYard, and just great to see your faces and being able to listen to your voices. Yeah, one of the things I learned from yesterday is, there's. I'll sum it up. Different opinions, and echoing what you had already said, learning from each other, and walking away from the conversation, um, and adding things to our bucket. So I'll mention that as well. But for work and hard work, one of the things I learned yesterday that I had been thinking about, since yesterday, and processing after the room was over, was work, or the thought of what hard work is, I believe has changed. And what we may think, when I say we, I'll put myself in there. I'm in that middle generation. I was part of the generation, and I don't even know if we should stereotype, but I feel wrong for doing that. But my background was physical work. Yesterday I called it moving bricks. I was a chef, so it was moving bricks, and it was working in a kitchen and working off the clock and doing a lot of physical work. And that's perceived as hard work. But I learned yesterday in the conversation that some of the things that the newer style of earning income, and I like the word that I've heard in Clubhouse over the past year that I've been here, creating wealth. I've come to really love that term, creating wealth. And what we think of creating wealth and how we used to do it was moving bricks or putting it, getting calluses on your hands. It's changed. And so yesterday's conversation was great. I loved being part of it. And Coach and Sujata, I will yield the mic back to you guys.
Thank you so much, Joey. Appreciate you. And I think it's today's going to be interesting. Let's just put it that way. And with that, I pass the mic over to Paddlin.
Yeah, this is going to be, I don't really have anything to share just yet, but this is going to be a very interesting discussion.
Woohoo! All right. Craig, how are you doing today, sir?
I'm fantastic, sir. I was just in that room. I don't know what was going on in there, and I just want to say that I'm glad I'm here.
The other room. So that was a room about bullying, and a lot of stuff that crime that is being committed here on Clubhouse, and like I always like to remind people, Clubhouse is a microcosm of the world. Therefore, all of the poop that happens in real life is going to happen and might even be magnified up here on Clubhouse due to the fact that pretty much everybody is under a magnifying glass when you're in this app. If that communicates, Craig.
Yeah, the thing is, there's a bunch of international scammers that are here. And, we always say buyer beware. I mean, people have to, Google is your best friend, right?
Amen.
You can figure out if some of these people are scammers. And the part that is I find interesting about Clubhouse is what draws me to Clubhouse is you could speak to people and know whether or not they know what they're talking about.
Oh,
There's no fancy websites. There's no, it's just like, let's have a conversation. Are you a master of this? Are you a real estate professional? Are you a scammer? Joe, you said you were a chef?
mm-hmm.
Yes, Craig. Professionally, if you want to say it, a former chef. In sales now. I sell Italian cheese to pizzerias and Italian restaurants and other restaurants. But yes, I was in the food industry as a professional chef for right around 27 years.
That, my brother, is hard work. I've owned a couple restaurants. I've been a cook. And we actually got a TripAdvisor Excellence Award when I had a curry shop in Mexico.
A curry shop in Mexico. Now that sounds like an interesting story. Ho, 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 ho.
Well, a curry shop anywhere is interesting. And the fact that you did it internationally in Mexico is even more interesting.
Well, my wife is Indian, and I've been cooking pretty much my whole life from my old Sicilian aunties and stuff. But I've never really had an Italian place, and I think the next one I do will strictly be Sicilian. But Mexico was very interesting. We introduced curry into the Yucatan, and it was pretty interesting, because we got to import stuff from India, from Pakistan, into Mexico for things that we needed. But yeah, long story. Great story for how to overcome obstacles. But yeah, it's going in my book. So yeah, that's it.
No, I think the interesting thing about some of the people on Clubhouse is when you look, if you divide life into 3 areas, faith, family, and business, and you look at some of the people that are hyper, and I'm going to say hyper successful in one area and none of the others, there is usually something that happened in one of the 2 other areas. And one of the people they were talking about, and I'm not going to name names. This person always talks about business, never talks about faith, and never talks about family. And I look at that and I go, I'm sad, because money to me cannot replace the love and community that I have found and have created on this app. We manage a 24-hour Bible study board of directors meeting every Thursday night. And so many of the people that come into there are people who I know, if I held my hand up and said, support, please, would drop, several of them would drop what they're doing and hop on a plane. And I'm 100% confident of that. And yet there are people that scream and shout and cuss and swear on back channel or even on stage because they don't have a green bean. Because they weren't moderated. And how could you not moderate me? Because look how big I am. Look at all the followers I have. And I look at that and go, it has nothing, to me, has nothing to do with followers. I mean, and I'll speak about this person, Grant Cardone. He's not everybody's cup of tea. I enjoy him. I have respect for him. I've met him in a different capacity, other than just the one up on stage, doing his weekend conferences or selling and pitching. I've met him on a more personal note. And I look at who he is, and, he's got 600,000 followers on Clubhouse. And, the next person above him is one of the owners, right? Who automatically have multiple millions. And I look at this and it doesn't mean anything. Grant talks about what he had to sacrifice in the beginning of his life to get to where he is. And he says most people wouldn't sacrifice a tenth of what I sacrifice. And I've been doing it for decades. And now I've got a family. And now I can create. And that's because the legwork I've done supports where I'm at. And I continue to move forward. And he's very authentic about it. And he will tell you, I chose not to go spend money and celebrate and buy a big dinner and a bunch of wine or champagne. I drank water and I went and yahooed with everybody. And I think about that. And I look in the mirror and I realize I didn't have that tenacity. I had tenacity in other ways, but not that one. One year I spent over $10,000 on coffee from coffee shops. Buying for me and buying for friends and buying for customers. So as we step into this hard work thing, I just thought it was perfect to bring up Grant, because he shared how he would get a big deal and sell a big deal, and he would immediately take the finances and go into the next deal. Whereas all his friends would spend some money or buy a toy and then invest half of it or a quarter of it. And he said, I scrounged and saved and watched my P's and Q's for decades to get where I'm at. So that's an example of, super hard work. I think the question now becomes, how do we stay out of the trap of the treadmill, I think, is the best way to describe it. How do we stay off that? All right. With that, I'm going to pass the microphone over to Maze. Hi, Maze. How are you? Oh, Maze is not there. Okay. Terry, are you there?
Yes, I'm here, Coach Les. How are you?
Phenomenal. Thank you for being here. We are looking at hard work. Is it something that exists today, hard work, or is it something that is missing?
Well, I believe that depends on how we define hard work. The younger generation, to me, it seems that they're, I don't want to use the word afraid, but they just don't believe they should have to do hard work, many of them. So we kind of have lost that part of the meaning of life as we move towards our, forward on our journey and what it takes to, succeed in anything. And, being in businesses that are, based on network marketing, we always hear and we talk about, and it's even still taught today, about working smarter, not harder. So what does that mean? It means to teach others to duplicate what we've learned and to be constantly willing, to me, being willing to learn constantly every day, learn something new, and be passing it forward to help others succeed. So even today, even though that there doesn't seem to be as much hard work that we went through in our younger days. So I'm giving away my age a little. Growing up on a farm, there's no day that there isn't hard work. It's just a requirement. It's how you live, and it's how the family thrives and survives. And the family unit was very, very important in farm life and in coming forward in life. So the working hard, I think you'll hear many of us talk about our parents worked hard to be able to send me through college and be able to do this, and this for me, or to be able to get my first car, or to help me get my first car, and to teach me, how to take care of my first car. All these things, it was about working hard. And the working smart really never came into it until we got into businesses that said, work smart, not harder. And we really had to have a good balance in between those two things. Because still to this day, if you're working for another company, you're still working hard because you're putting a lot of hours in each day away from the family to achieve the level to support the family and still thrive and be able to invest monies that are going to be profitable for the future as you look towards retirement. At a certain age that you reach, you start thinking about, wow, what are we going to do when we get, as we get older. So, and then I believe there is a moment, there is some time when you reach that moment, we ponder, we motivate, we inspire to, and aspire to work smarter with our monies to still be able to thrive. So it's a combination, I think. And today, young people want everything now. And I remember, I told myself I wanted to always remember how I felt through these stages in life, because I knew that when we had children, we were going to have to deal with these stages in their lives, and them wanting something immediately. They want what we have that we worked hard for 20 years for. They want it, the first or second year after getting married. It just doesn't happen that way. So it's about being realistic, and the fact that that young people and the generation today really needs to realize they've got to put in the time and hard work as much as anyone to be able to work smarter. So anyway, that's my little bit. Thank you, Coach Les. And I'm Terry, and I'm done.
Terry, you're rocking. I love it. Hey, Robert, we sent you a StreamYard invite on Facebook. Can't you get in?
All right, give me a second, Coach. I'm trying to get in right now. I'm keep getting blocked by the login, so bear with me, guys.
Or what?
Rob, I'll be right back. I promise I'll be right there. Okay?
What email do you want me to send it to?
Send it to Robert at WCILive.com. I just have like 100 emails, so I make it easy for you.
So that's Robert at WCILive.com?
Yeah, WCILive.com. That's it, brother.
Hold on. Give me 2 seconds.
Okay, stand by. I'll be right there, guys. Stand by.
Coach, do you mind? Can I put a comment?
Of course you can, sir. Always.
Thanks, Terry. Do you mind if I comment on what you just said?
Oh no! Yes, just keep commenting. I love it.
All right. Yeah. Thank you, Terry. So I believe we're probably somewhere in the same age. That's my guess. I shared earlier in the room. I did the 20 years of hard work as well, and I have daughters who are 27, 25, and 22. So I'm familiar also with the younger generation. I'll say this at 48, who did a lot of hard work. I am extremely envious. When I think about working hard for 20 years, for me, it was about 27 years with that work hard mentality. I am extremely envious of this work smart, work harder, work smarter, not harder. I am trying to gain the knowledge and learn everything I can from this younger generation, because I'm not sure if the work that they're putting in isn't necessarily not hard. I have a daughter who does social media on Snapchat and TikTok, and she puts in a lot of hours. And right, so does she want to go out and cut the grass? No, not really. Neither did I, to be quite honest with you. And I don't want to do it now anymore either. And I pay someone to do it. But I'm just going to say, when we define the work hard, you're correct. We and I said it before in the room. I called it moving bricks. I don't know why I'm calling it moving bricks, but you get the idea. I'm envious, and I'm listening and learning to the millionaires who are just barely 20 years old, who are able to get stuff now. I'm in awe of them, and this is someone who's coming from a work hard mentality.
Could I add to that, Coach?
Of course you can, Terry. Go for it.
Okay. Yes, absolutely. You are so correct, because it's in a different time. We grew up still in the industrial age, and
Test 1 2. Test 1 2.
Hi, yeah, we're hearing you loud and clear.
Copy that. Thank you.
We're we come up in as things change, as society changes, and we move into this digital world, then it is truly amazing what our young ones do, and young adults, and what they accomplish. And electronic and electrical and all this new technology so much better and faster than we did, and we have. So it is amazing. You're right. And because they actually, I believe they've grasped a hold of the working smarter concept much quicker than we did. To me, going to the our network marketing meetings and just the events and just hearing this over and over, and we're just wondering, scratching our heads, how do we do that? How are we going to work smarter and not harder? And for me to watch our children go up in this mentality of working smarter, it was so much easier for them to grasp a hold of and to get a lot more accomplished in that working smarter mentality, and still working hard, putting in the hours, like you were saying, Joey, that it just is how we define working harder and working hard. How are we defining that? Because it's changed. It's changed from 40 years ago to now. And 40 years ago, I was in my 20s. So I'm just saying, it's changed, and we need to adjust and adapt and learn what that is. And for us to learn from the younger generation is also an amazing thing, as they have grasped the hold of the working smarter concept. I'm Terry. Thank you all. Thank you, Coach.
Terry, I'll just make one last comment too. I had to work in a 100-degree kitchen to make my money. My daughter falls asleep and wakes up and has money in her checking account. So once again, I am extremely envious of her ability to
And I just want to jump in on this whole thing before I hand it off to Robert. Here's the thing about, for some people, working we used to refer to it as a blue collar job, and I'm gonna say that for, let's say, a farmer today. But if you look at some of the modern day farmers and you go into their $1 million tractors and you sit in their seat and you look at this platform in front of you, it's computerized, it's got satellite uplink, it has air conditioning, there's a small refrigerator in there, there's video uplink, and the satellites control the tractor to a closer degree and better management and straighter lines than the farmer. So the farmer can literally sit in his or her office and do what used to be considered blue collar, hard work, sitting on behind oxen, or fast forward a little bit, sitting on an open air tractor, getting carbonated out with exhaust and death from an engine. Now, to me, that isn't something that would inspire me. Now, for them, what I do and have done, going door to door, selling, or sitting down and listening to somebody share their business woes, family woes, faith woes, and supporting them in recreating that, the farmer would look at me and go, "Are you kidding me? I get enough drama from my family. I don't want any more drama." So what is work to some people isn't work to others. So when we define hard work, remember, it's an individualistic viewpoint. So as we share today, I don't want anybody to be upset about what one person says about another person. So I'm going to hand the mic to Robert and let him share. He just came off of mute. And Robert, welcome and thank you for being here.
Hi, good afternoon, Coach Les. Hey, it's Robert Paizola. I'm the CEO of Western Capital. I just got back from lunch and I jumped in when I heard somebody talking about the number of followers. And there was an issue that it really spiked me because it sounded as if, and forgive me if I'm wrong, I'm going to ask you for a 30-second recap, but this person was talking as if he was talking that if you have a bunch of followers, that validates you or brings you into the reality of having something. Is that what he was saying? And if not, then give me some information, give me some feedback on that, because I have a definite position statement on that, if that's okay, sir.
We were just recapping another room and talking about somebody that has somehow managed in the small confines of Clubhouse. Now we're growing our followers has been slowed down dramatically from the November and December of 2020 and January of 21. In those 3 months, there were people that could go from 0 to 15,000 in 3 months based on the size of the rooms back then and how the algorithms worked.
Right.
Today, that isn't as possible. And there's
Right.
somebody that everybody's talking about in another room, and I don't want to bring it up, but I wanted to just specifically say.
Let me just ask you, Coach, what did that person say? Did he allocute his professionalism to his number of followers? Was he any way trying to connect his validation as an individual to his follower count?
Yes, because it was being talked about secondhand of this person does that in other rooms.
Really? Okay. Okay.
And this is the room that we were in is being run by somebody he's made it his mission to discover scammers, discover people that are being scammed, and help people that are being scammed.
Okay. Is this person by chance still on Clubhouse right now? I'm logged into Clubhouse. Let me take a quick look. If I can just take a look and see who's in the room. Bear with me 1 second.
It's not in our room, and you'll know. I put it in our private chat, Robert. You can just take a look in our private chat here on StreamYard. And here's what I just want to share with everybody, because I want to make sure that this room that we're in right now, that we continue to keep our focus on our conversation about hard work. And I want to say welcome to Laz Mahatma, to God's vessel. Thank you for being here. I'm inviting you guys up on stage. Mahatma, it's so great to see you. Oh my gosh, one of the first musketeers of the 24-hour Bible study. So great to see you. Vicky, Tanisha, Clayton, good to see you. And Tangular, thank you so much. And by the way, if somebody wants to share a point of view and they don't want to come up on stage, by all means, remember on the lower left of your screen, we have a room chat. And there you can, I'll get it started. You can go in there and add whatever you'd like to add. Now, I say that judiciously, because I'm going to say if you post something in there that is slanderous, that has foul language, I will remove it. And I will also send you a message. And if you do it again, I'll remove you from the room. So please be respectful of everybody. There's Morris, the connector. He's up on stage. Welcome, Morris. Thank you so much for being here.
So, Coach Les.
Yes.
All right. I love your comment when it talks about hard work equals results. The question then becomes, what is hard work? To some people, hard work is walking outside with a pickaxe and breaking up rocks. To some people, hard work is putting out a platform, building up a group of people who listen to what you say, who build up a following like Coach Les has done. And my friends, let me tell you very, very, very clearly, I've known Coach Les for a long time, and everything Coach Les has, everything he has done, he has earned. Not one thing has been handed to him. He has mentors just like we are mentors. Let me say that again. Coach Les has mentors just like we are mentors. And if you're a mentor in this business or in this situation, or you're a mentor online, then you know what I'm talking about. If you can feel the passion in my voice, you get it. Congratulations. Now let's talk a little bit about reality. Reality is, Coach Les, I have 800,000 followers on all platforms across the world. That includes Facebook, that includes all my YouTubes and all that. 800,000 people. Do I ever in any room besides this room right now ever say that? Absolutely not. Why? Because there are people like JT, people, I don't even want to start the name of the list. People that have a lot of people that's their calling card. In other words, let me put it this way. My name is Grant Cardone, therefore I am. I have 1 million subscribers, and I pitch to people on Clubhouse every day for $1,000. And I'm able to have an event once a year where I charge $1,000. And that gives me personal validity. Okay, congratulations, sir. JT Fox, the exact same thing. There are 10 people on this platform who have that ability. My question to those 10 people are the following, and I've done this because I did it last week on NBC News. All right, and this is not a joke, guys. Just type in Robert Paizola video, and you'll see me on NBC last week. What value do we bring to you as a person that listens to us every single day? You see, I have a pact with my students and my clients and my people that hire me, my companies. If I will never, ever go on a stage that I know I'm being recorded on and just talk about other people, naysay people, talk about the lowest common denominator of mankind, it does not do any good. You see, when you lift people up, my friends, you cannot help but to be lifted up. That's godlike. That's when you know you're giving. When you give without asking for anything back. Just because you have a platform on this platform and you have a lot of people, let me give you some clues. Because I happen to talk to the CEO of this platform, and I know exactly why your numbers are tanking. Number one, this platform was developed during COVID. During November and December, other people created other platforms that then usurped the user base from this platform. If you take a look at all the conversations and you replay you guys know everything I do, I record and I syndicate worldwide. Let me explain to you what that means. You're hearing me talk right now, and there's maybe 500 to 1,000 people listening on this platform. By the time I get done, this will be worldwide in over 90 countries and in 4 languages. How many of you can say that? I would bet $1 million. None of you can say that unless you're with national media. Let me say that again. I would bet $1 million that none of you can say that. How did I create that? By doing exactly what Coach Les does. Work my can off. And I have mentors who mentor me, and I spend a lot of money getting my name out there and making sure that things happen. But guys, when you have that type of voice, when you have that type of ability to arc people's futures and bring them to the center of where they belong, to help them through their crisis, you have a moral obligation to be there. For it is not enough to say, oh, I have 800,000 followers. That means nothing. It's not impressive. It means nothing. My question to you, gentlemen, is what have you done for those 800,000 people lately? And when was the last time you as an individual asked for money? Now, if you're out asking for money on Clubhouse, I feel bad for you. Because, guys, realistically, this is not the platform where we ask for money. We ask for money around the world when we're on stage in Los Angeles in front of 10,000 people. That's how we make money. That's reality. Books, tapes, conversations, mentoring, and coaching. Do you see? That's the real business. And I come from Trump. So how did I learn all this? I didn't just make this up and show up on Clubhouse like a lot of people did. No. You have to have absolute integrity when you have that type of following. And as you play this back anywhere in the world, there will not be one person that will be able to counteract that. Because if you live with integrity and you do what you're absolutely supposed to do, and you live 100% by your word, people will come to you. And if they come to you, you will make money. It's that simple. But do not stand behind your reputation of being the guy that can open a room and have a lousy 2,000 people in a room at once. Please, if you think that impresses me, you come to one of my seminars in LA with 10,000 people. Guys, I'm not joking. This is a business. We started this 17 years ago, before coaching was a thing, before being a mentor was a thing. What is Coach Les doing now? What does his name say? Coach Les, integrity coaching. Exactly what I'm talking about. And there's a lot more that you don't know that's symbiotic between myself and Coach Les and Sujata. You see, my friends, we have been trained how to do what we do. We don't just throw words at the board and hope that they stick. Every single word we use is well thought out and absolutely categorically clear and serves your best interests. Now, if you're curious, we can show you how we learned that 10 years ago. But that has served me very well and has made me financially successful way beyond my dreams. But it's because I took the time to learn, just like Coach Les is doing. So to that individual who came in the room and says, I have this and this and this, I have one question, my dear friend, and I don't even know who you are. Why is Grant Cardone on Clubhouse asking for $1,000 from people that can't even pay their rent? Is that moral? If you say yes, I feel bad for you. For you are not in integrity, my friend. That is not integrous whenever you take something from somebody who doesn't have it. $1,000, but yet you're worth billions? Let us be clear. It is to serve. To serve is to gain. And I'm very, very passionate about what I do. And I hope you all get that. And I hope any platform you're listening to this on, in any of the 4 languages that we're speaking this on, including Russian, believe it or not, that you understand that we're deadly serious about what we do because we have people's lives in their hands. Guys, my name is Robert Paizola, and I'm the CEO and president of Western Capital International. I own Western Capital Multimedia, and I own a lot of other companies that I invest in. I buy companies. I take all the people that have went through COVID and said, I give up. Well, I bought their companies and we're making them successful. For that's what we do. We do not give up. So take your followers and teach your followers how to do what you do, but do not charge them. Let me say it again. Go to your followers, show them what you do, but don't peacock and charge somebody $1,000. Otherwise, I'll just do it for free. Because I can earn $25,000 by snapping my fingers off of this one broadcast right now, what I'm saying. Because I guarantee you there's somebody around the world that's like, oh my God, I need somebody like this in my company, or I need somebody like this who's going to deal with my family. And they'll Google my name and they'll be like, oh my God. Yeah, that's the guy. That's him. Enjoy your comfort while you have it. Because Clubhouse has gone down. Clubhouse is being replaced. And I would not invest $1 in Clubhouse right now. And I said that on NBC last week. That is my statement. It's all about your integrity. If you're not integrous, I can tell as well as Coach Les within seconds. That's why I sent him 10 back channel questions saying, please put me on stage when I walked in and heard what whoever this was that was talking. Are we clear, my friends? I hope so. I stand down, Coach Les.
As you can see, everybody, a little bit of passion about hard work. And
I'm a little confused.
Go ahead, Craig.
So I'm new here. So like you were talking about Grant Cardone, and this guy is crapping all over Grant Cardone. And they're both talking about integrity. I'm a mess.
So, well, one of the things that I spoke about Grant Cardone, is, I haven't been following him recently. I haven't been privy to one of the deals that he's done. I've heard about it, Craig. It's a deal where, and I don't want to go into the details because
Coach Les, you know I got to say something. My friend, just go to Cardone Ventures /disclosure. That'll explain everything to you. Okay. This is Robert Paizola talking, not Coach Les. Go to Cardone Ventures /disclosure. Okay. And that'll answer every question you have. And it'll give you points and authorities and all the legal points and authorities I'm speaking of, which I haven't even got into. I have no problem with Grant as a person, believe it or not. No problem. And I'm not crapping over anybody, sir. I don't do that. That's not the way we do business. Am I clear?
Yeah, I just
not really, but okay.
Okay, thank you, sir. I appreciate that reinforcement.
So one of the things, Craig, you'll notice about Robert's style versus my style, and Robert's on one of the video platforms right now speaking. He's not on stage, as you can see, but one of the things, he's extremely passionate. He's used to being on live stages, so his vehemence tends to come across very powerfully, and he's used to being in boardrooms, as opposed to my style, which is a little softer here on stage. No less or no more integrous. What he's talking about is one of the ventures that Grant has been a party to recently on Clubhouse. And I don't know enough about it, but if you go to that website, and perhaps we can get Robert to come back on and put it in the back channel, the room chat, so that people, or he can give it to me and I'll put it in the room chat. What I'm pointing to is how Grant Cardone started in the very beginning of his business, how much hard work he put in. And that's what I was speaking to, was the hard work that he put in, as opposed to having a life, spending the money weekly like I did. I was very frivolous. I preferred to eat in nice restaurants because I worked in the restaurant business. I preferred to spend money at Caribou. I mean, if I look at how much money I've spent at Caribou, Craig, and I took that money and invested it, I would be in a very different place today. Now, that doesn't mean that I didn't work hard for my money. I worked extremely hard. Most people knew that for me, I worked 2 full-time jobs. I worked super hard at one, which paid my salary, and the other one was where I got trained and developed and had coaching 20 to 30 hours a week for 10 years. And that's where I got trained to be a coach. And although they don't, in that organization, they don't certify, I came out of that organization, was granted a scholarship to become NSA, National Speaker Association certified. And then I went to Zig Ziglar and went through Zig Ziglar, because so many people look at your resume and want to see a certification. And if you don't have one, you spend a lot of time demonstrating, quote unquote, proving that you have done hard work. And, sometimes I think on this app, there's people, and I'm going to hand the mic over to somebody that I know will have a great opinion on this, and we'll share some eye-opening stories, because I've known him for a long time. And I know his story and how he got to be where he is today. And there's 2 types of people on Clubhouse. There's the people that are authentic, that have a number of followers because they go in and they provide value when they go into a room and they get followed. And then there are other people that we know today have actually purchased followers to the tune of spending $100,000 to get 25,000 followers that are real, quote unquote. And, they want to look good. Well, there was a time when I got on Clubhouse where I wanted followers, because I knew what it would do for me. If I had followers, I would get into certain rooms and they would put me on stage. When I realized that didn't work and it wasn't authentic, I took the different approach. And that was, I spent a lot of time on Clubhouse. so much time that it almost got me into trouble in my relationship with my wife. And we had a huge breakdown around May of last year. And because of that, we had a huge breakthrough, because that's just the way I roll, breakdown, breakthrough. And now we play disc golf together on the weekends when it's sunny. So that's me. Now I'd love to pass the mic over to somebody that I know will have a great share on hard work and a little bit of a story about Clubhouse. And Morris, I hope you're there. I just know, Morris, you have an amazing story, and I love you, brother. And I sure hope you're still there to come off mic.
I'm here, man.
Woo!
I'm here listening to you, man. And when you talk about leading with integrity, you know, Coach Les, I love Coach Les, because every room I go into and he comes in my room, there's certain people on this app that you just feel their spirit, and there's certain people you don't. That's all I'm saying. Continue. Thank you.
You know, here's the thing, though, Morris. How did you get 7,500 followers?
I came on Clubhouse, and I just want to say to everybody, it was Clubhouse that made me find my voice, I would say. Just going on there, just speaking my truth, that set me free when I speak it. Just coming on Clubhouse, just because I was going, before Clubhouse came and COVID, I was going around to schools and speaking to the kids and every follower, because the kids in London were killing themselves and killing kids, 17, 16-year-olds. And I would go around to the schools and tell them about my story of being the gangster, the drug dealer that didn't really pay off, and changing my life around, which I'm happy every minute of the day, and sharing with them that story. And they seem to love the story of a guy that came from zero to hero. And they love the story because, you know, kids, they love like Justin Bieber, Beyonce. So when I tell them my story about how I was the gangster, changed my life around by walking with God and seeing the light shining bright now, and starting to set up a chauffeur company that now drives some of the biggest pop stars in the world.
Thank you. Thank you, brother. Really appreciate you, Morris. Are you still there, Morris? Uh-oh. Morris, did you drop your mic? All right. Well, hopefully he'll be able to come back to us in a moment. With that, I'd love to show. Oh, Elizabeth is on the phone. Terry, I saw you flashing. Go ahead.
I was clapping for Morris, and I know he's kind of fallen into the matrix. Hopefully we can get him back. It's really powerful, and he helps us realize that, you know, we all have stories, and we don't know who the next person is that will impact and inspire and lift them up. We really don't know. And when Robert was speaking, you know, what really came to me is that who and what do we put our trust in? And like he was saying, when we can lead with integrity and honesty and trusting in God, our creator, our source, what many people call different names. But I just want to say, you know, Creator Almighty that created the universe and how special He's made us. And when we can put our trust in that and in Him and really speak our truth, which is what I just keep hearing Morris talk about, you know, and the overcoming, be overcomers like we've been created to be co-creators, be creators like we've been created to be. And, you know, like Robert was saying, everything else will come. And Morris is also one of those that has taught us and talks about that. And you, Coach Les, and I'm not even very old in Clubhouse, just about 7 weeks. And so I just am really, I'm really honored, and I'm really appreciative and grateful for these rooms that I have been led to. And it's really not by me. I just feel the guidance on where God has brought me to and into these rooms. And I want to learn every day. I want to be able to impact others as I keep moving throughout my days, and the kind of people and young people that God has brought into my life in Africa and all across the world. And I'm sitting here going, I'm just a little farm girl, you know, and but I know each one of us are overcomers, and we have a story, and it does impact other people when we lead with integrity and honesty. And you know, I have aspired to have a lot of followers, but it's not that important. It's not that important in the whole scheme of things when we put our trust where we need to put our trust. So thank you, Coach Les. Thank you, Morris. I would love to hear from Morris if he can make it back. Anyway, it was really powerful. Thank you, Robert, too, as well. Thank you. I'm Terry.
Thank you so much, Terry. Appreciate that. And I just want to do a quick shout out. Laz, I've been trying to pull you up. I actually turned off the mic and turned it back on. So I keep sending you an invite. I'm going to tell everybody on stage. That's why I make everybody mods. So if other people want to give me a try, give them a try and bring them up. And Laz, it may be something, just a glitch with the app. So you may have to pop out and pop back in. But we'd love to have you come up on stage and share. And with that, look at that. The 3 next people are all on the phone. That's hilarious. But that's okay. Craig, I'd love to hear what how that shifted your point of view. If my explanation kind of resonated and clarified some of it.
I'm still processing.
Okay, well, you know, whatever. Let's make sure before you leave this room that we clarify it to the point where you're left empowered, because I definitely don't want anybody to be disempowered by this conversation.
Oh, not at all. No, it would take a lot to disempower me.
Okay. Well, I mean,
Hey, I'm back, man.
Hey, Morris. There you go. Mike, cheers.
I was speaking there, Coach, right? And then I realized no one was there listening. The mic wasn't on. Some people went, Ron, did you hear me? Was you hearing me earlier?
No, we heard you in the very beginning, and then something happened, and I looked, and the mic was on, but you were gone.
Yeah, something went wrong. I don't know what's wrong with Clubhouse. All things seems to be happening. But what I was saying, because you were saying, how did I get 7,000 followers?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah, so how I got 7,000 followers, when Clubhouse started, I came on Clubhouse when COVID started, and just started to speak my truth, really, and just speak life into people, just showing people that they too are someone special, you know, and everybody has got something within them to lead with and a gift. Do you know what I mean? And I shared my story, which is my glory now. You know, like I used to say, why me? Why me, God? Why me? Why me? Now I say, try me, because I believe in me. So I believe if everybody shared their story with integrity and confidence, you know, that's how you get followers. You don't have to buy followers. Some people feel they have to buy followers, but followers is nothing. It's the people that matter, the people that you're serving, the people that you are changing lives. That's what matters, you know? Yeah, so I've got followers just by speaking my truth, if that helps. Yeah.
Oh, it definitely helps. I mean, it's definitely one of those things where time and going into rooms, being patient, putting your hand up, and then when you share, being authentic, people resonate with authenticity. They resonate with truth as they sense it versus necessarily hear it. And, there's a lot of people, when you check them out and you look at their social media, just like what Robert said earlier, if you check out all his social media and start counting up his followers, you'll suddenly see, oh, maybe this guy is the real deal. You look at some of the other people and you wonder, right? Because it doesn't all add up. Or if it adds up from 1 week to the next week. Wait a minute. How is that possible? There isn't enough hours in the day. So you start to see that there's something fishy going on in the background. And, that's why, I think, and to Joey's point of view, first of all, there are no shortcuts. There may be luck. There may be a miracle here and there. There may be the odd time where somebody hits the Powerball and hits the jackpot. But remember, 93% or some crazy number like that of all people that win the Powerball in the United States are broke or worse than they were when they started, when they win that Powerball. And that's not my numbers. Those are statistics from the Powerball people, the people that watch the Powerball. So when you think about that, you can understand why from some religious aspects, money is the root of all evil. And then from spiritual people, they'll say, yes, but it builds a pathway to happiness. It can. Exactly. So there is that.
Can I jump in, Coach Les?
Of course, Morris. Of course.
Right. From my perspective of being the gangster, the drug dealer, all I ever wanted from the ages 15, 16 was to be a gangster to earn money, right? So from my perspective, I would say we can't help the poor by being one of them. So money helps, it's a commodity. But it's the love of money. I love money so much that I will do anything for money. And that's when it gets to that bad, evil way. Being in that darkness just for the money. I thought the jewelry, the house, the car I drove, drinking and smoking. I thought I was successful, but no. Success is you finding yourself, because this is a journey, everyone. When you're born, you're dying. We're put here to fight and find ourselves to move on to eternity. If this was eternity, I'd be the gangster. God gave me time to change, and he's given every one of you time to change your perspective with your pain to gain to power, to serve with and find your gift. Sometimes we get stuck. We just need a coach like Les or something like that. I'm done speaking.
Thank you.
Coach Les, I absolutely agree with what he just said. The man is so clear on where he came from and where he's at now. And you know what? I don't think there's a chance in heck he would ever go back to where he was before. I feel that. He's so powerful, Les. Are you there, sir?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
I'm here.
So,
I'm here listening to you,
you are, sir. You are so powerful in the world.
Why would I want to go back when I'm the happiest man in the world within myself?
That's right. The world deserves you, sir. The world deserves you. The world deserves to hear what you have to offer. I can tell you that. And the first thing you said before Clubhouse, I was talking to schools. That is what impresses me. You were doing the action before you showed up and said you were doing the action. Congratulations, my friend. I'm impressed.
All right. Just wanted to do a quick shout out for the room chat. Craig, if you go to the room chat, the link that Robert was talking about is in the room chat now. It took me a little bit to get there. Oh, so Laz, you can't speak. Okay. Laz, if you want to write anything, you can actually go ahead and put it in the back chat too, and we can I can say it aloud as well. Let's see. Did anybody come off of? Nope, they're still on. Sujata, you've been awfully quiet. It's time for you to speak.
If you say so. In communication, there's another key part which is called listening. And I always like to listen, because when I listen, I learn. It's also the greatest form of respect that you can give when people are talking. And so that's why I listen, and I'm awfully quiet. However, I'm told that even when I'm quiet, people seem to understand my silence. So that's a good thing. It's been very interesting and very passionate shares, and I agree with a whole lot of it, because I did my research in the beginning and I found out that you can buy followers. So then I was very skeptical of people who had followers. You see, leadership is about actions, it's not about designations. And why are we in this room? It is because you consistently have this room based on the book. I never asked you to do anything. You read my book aloud in Clubhouse, and then you hold these rooms taken from the lessons which are there in the book, and you do it consistently. You have 3 rooms based on this book which covers everything. So that's what integrity is about. That's what consistency is about. And that's what engaging with people. As Robert was saying, what's the use of having followers if you don't impact any one of them? And I always test people. So if you're following me and I ask you for your number and you don't share it, this I won't go beyond that, but it just speaks for itself. What's the use of following if you can't speak to me, if you can't engage with me offline? If you want to truly make a difference in people's life, you have to engage with them. Followers at the end of the day are not going to come when you need them. I mean, I've seen that all through my life. People are not there when you need them. Those who are there, they are few in numbers, and they will show up in actions. Like you do, Coachless, consistently. And I so appreciate.
Thank you. Yeah, it's yep, go ahead. Somebody just flashed their mic on stage. Go for it. Joey, you're off the phone. Go for it.
It wasn't me, but I am here. So yeah, I was taking a phone call from one of my distributors who working hard, right? You got to take calls at 6:30 at night. No, I'm complete, Coach. I'm complete for now. I missed the last 5 minutes of the conversation, so I'm not sure where you guys are. But I think I don't have anything to add. I'm complete.
I think we're still wrapping our conversation around how does one equate the celebrity status, the labels that are assigned to some people, and how does it equate to hard work? I think and what looks like hard work. I mean, I think one of my favorite examples to share, I was in the British Virgin Islands and I was flying back from having been out on a sailboat with my dad and my family. We were out on a monohull sailing for 10 days. And on the way back, I was in what I call a puddle jumper airplane, 2 rows of seats on one side and 1 row on the other side. And I happened to be in the 2-row section, and the person sitting next to me was a gal in, beautiful complexion, no makeup on, had a summer hat on, what I call a floppy hat, and very loose shirt, and what I would call a pair of pants kind of between jeans and sweatpants, and just very comfortably dressed. Nothing gaudy, nothing showy, no jewelry. And, true to style, I always say hello and get to know the person sitting next to me. And, we got to talking, and she said, "So what do you do?" And I told her I was a coach, and we chatted for about because the ride was about an hour and a half. And, I spoke for about 15 to 20 minutes. And then I said, "So tell me, what do you do?" And she goes, I'm a model." And I said, "Oh." And she goes, "Yeah." And I said, that's cool. I don't know much about the modeling life. I've just heard some horror stories about how hard it is, and that you never get any peace when people recognize you." And she goes, "Yeah, there's, a lot of times on these type of flights, and when I'm stuck sitting next to somebody, I kind of cross my fingers and pray to God that the person sitting next to me doesn't know who I am." And I said, "Well, you got your prayer answered, because I have no clue." And I said, "And I bet even if you told me your name, I have no clue, because it's not my area of expertise." And, she shared, a lot of people wish they could have my job, but what they don't see is the fact that out of a day when I'm being shot by cameras or videoed, I'm up before the dawn because they want to use the light of dawn. I'm in flimsy outfits, and it's barely 45 degrees with a cold wind at the beach. And I'm doing my best not to shiver. And I'm there, and I'm out in the elements, sometimes from sunup to sundown, which can be 15, 16, 17 hours. And I'm supposed to be happy, perky, and full of energy all the time, so that that is expressed in the photographs. And I get, quote unquote, get paid for that. Now, I tell you what, when you look at how many hours I work, and yes, I may make a lot of money, but when you look at how many hours I work, it starts to be not really any greater than an expert in their field, like a dentist or a doctor or a lawyer. And they don't have to deal with the elements or some crazy person screaming at them or slathering makeup onto their face with a spatula. and she had me laughing, and I look, and she goes, "So it's a lot of work. It's a hard work to do and be this way." And I'd never before that time had never spent that much time. It was about an hour looking at what it was to be a model or a TV actor, and the behind the scenes hard work. So I think, in honor of this room and looking at hard work, I think there are times when we glorify people, right? It would be easy to glorify Sujata, right? And she travels a lot. She's written a couple of books. She's got an amazing story in her book. She's got a really great family. She's got a daughter living in the US. She's got a daughter living in India. So there's this whole jet set appeal. And yet when you dig a little deeper and read between the chapters, you find out the heartache that, thank God, one of her daughters lives in the US to be as far away as possible from the story of India. And thank God Sujata doesn't live in India, 365 days, 4.25 days a year, because to put up with what she'd have to put up with in her building, where she's the security, in charge of the security on the board of directors, and we look and we find out this stuff, and we never know. I mean, you see Morris, if you click on his bio picture, He's sitting in a beautiful, looks like a furry animal couch with a beautiful suit on, a nice necklace with AirPods in, and you think, oh, wow, look at him, man of luxury. He's made success. But then you hear his story and you go, whoa, what it took to get him there. And that's each and every person. And I think, if there's one thing out of this conversation today here on stage, and one thing we want to make sure that we're being cognizant of, thoughtful of, and really being, quote unquote, Christ-like, even if you're not religious, following the way Christ lived his life, not judging and assessing people and listening to people. What that will provide you is a wealth of knowledge that is, when I do a snapshot of the room here, and I can look at people and say, wow, I know Sujata's story. I know Joey's story. Looking forward to getting to know Craig's story. Heard a little bit about Terry's story. Know Morris's story. Heard a little bit about Tanisha. Getting to know Vicky. Looking forward to getting to know God's vessel, Debbie, and Laz's story, and Gertrude down below. We all have a story that's priceless. And when we come together as a community and we're able to support each other in that community, learn from each other, share with each other in such a way that the information that we share doesn't disrespect, upset, cajole, make fun of, or put somebody else down, i.e. make them right or wrong. From what is left over, to empower, to see the workability that they've created, the integrity that they've created in their life, we can all learn from those nuggets. We can all learn from what it takes. One of the things that I love about Robert, that I'm continuing to learn, and same with Sujata, is what's made both of them successful in their own right. What's made Robert successful in the financial world, what's made Sujata successful in the people world, and looking to see what can I take away from both of them. And and just a footnote for everybody, this is some of the information to put into your bios, right? So or when you connect your bios to Twitter or to Instagram, is to be, look, let this be a snapshot of some of the things in my life that have had me become who I am today, as a demonstration, right? That's the beauty of it. So, Craig, I want to pass the mic to you to see if you had anything that you wanted to share.
I do find this conversation fascinating, because there's people in here that we could all learn from and grow from. I was just thinking about the whole thing about integrity, and somebody had mentioned in another room about integrity and how it could be different for different people. Like, my integrity is going to be different than your integrity, or Mr. Morris's integrity, or Joey's integrity. And I guess that integrity is going to be based off our faith or based off our experience. I'm an open book. I love to tell stories about my life. I love to listen to other people's stories and learn and grow from them. So I'm here just as an observer, more so than a speaker, if that makes sense.
That's all right, as long as you don't mind me putting you on the hot seat once in a while, so we can learn a nugget or two from you.
Oh, sir, I beat cancer, man. I was a World Trade Center volunteer and developed lung cancer, and I beat that. There's no hot seat.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And I appreciate getting to know you.
Thank you, sir.
So funny. Poor Annetta. She keeps coming onto the stage and getting phone calls. Hi, Jenny. So good to see you. Jenny is one of our regular visitors, and she is from there. She is. She is from Malaysia. She is the most. If her food, her baking, is 50% as good as it looks in taste, I will be the most happy man when I get to Malaysia, and I will be one chunky monkey when I get home. But Jenny, how are you, Jenny?
Good morning. I just woke up. It's like 6:46 a.m. on my side. Yeah, I'm here to say good morning. Hi, Coach Les, Sujata, Joey, everyone here. Good morning and good evening to you all. I'm good. Thank you for asking. How are you all?
Phenomenal. I'm still trying to figure out a way to get baked goods from you to us.
Maybe come to Malaysia and visit me.
I know. I have a sneaking suspicion that Sujata will get to visit your bakery before I do.
Coach Les, I just wanted to make a comment if I could real quick.
Definitely.
Man,
Go ahead.
You made a comment a few moments ago that it's not about the followers, it's about what happens behind the scenes. Every single person I'm looking at right now, I have had conversations with and done things with behind the scenes. And, I don't think a lot of people can say that, but whenever you truly, truly follow somebody and listen to somebody, it's a two-way conversation. And that's why we talk about integrity so much, because no matter what I see as the television brand of Coach Les, there's always the other side that it's like, man, Rob, this is a tough day I'm having, man. You wouldn't believe, and we have those conversations, and he has them with me, and I call him and I'm like, man, Coach, this is a tough one. What do I do? That stuff actually happens. And I think what I'm pushing for, and in my dissertation, when I was making my statement, was I think that this world we call Clubhouse would be so much better if we had more of that relationship building that helped each other in 100% true, authentic ways. Whether it's getting her cookies, whether it's learning about everything about Sujata and her world and her books, and just being able to be completely, authentically compassionate and real. And not only when you're on stage, you're being viewed by hundreds of thousands of people, but when it's behind the scenes and you're really feeling like, man, who do I call? Who's my buddy? And that's what I've learned. It's taken me a while to learn that, but you know what? I have, and I value the relationships that I have. And so authenticity and integrity is absolutely essential. Thank you, Coach Les, for I have learned so much from you today, my friend.
Sujata, go ahead. I can see that smile.
Yeah, I just because I smile, I don't have to speak. But yes, I resonate with what you all are saying. And it's all to do about relationships at the end of the day. That's what I'm saying. I've never been impressed by numbers, and I've never been impressed by designations. I've been known to, treat people who are supposedly high up in society the same kind of uh, behavior that I would give to anybody else. So it's got nothing to do with your designation. If you walk the talk and I see that you have integrity and I see that you're humble, I will definitely be your friend. But if you have attitude and you have arrogance, then I shall just walk past you. That's it.
I love it. I mean, when I say I love this, I think that there's so much that resonates with what you just shared, Sujata. It's one of those things for me where how do we have that gentle of you and break through the barriers that exist in some of the social media platforms that I think you have to have, without making it an evil thing. You have to have this massively tough skin to break through some of the mold and the barriers and the people that exist on those social media platforms to get ahead.
If people have read my book and know my story, I have worked in my in my career, when I did it out of without any degrees and all. I was working with the chairmans in the Chamber of Commerce and Industry, and I worked with all the brands that you can name and think of, and I worked with the chairmans, and they always treated me on first name basis, and they treated me with respect because that's how I carried myself. I knew that I was a woman, and I knew that it was very tough, but I set my own standards of working. For example, what I would do is, if I was working with the chairman in his office, I would not leave. And people asked me, "Why don't you leave? You've done your work and now you can go home." I said, "No. When they go home, then I go home." Because you know what happens behind the scenes? You go home early, then it's said, "Oh, women have this problem. Today they have this problem, that problem." I never ever brought any of my home problems to the workplace, no matter how hard it was. Even if somebody was sick at home, even if I had things to do, I would not. And that's how I garnered respect, because only when they see you as an equal and you don't, let your gender or your this thing, whatever society has given us and we are supposed to confirm, you do out of the box and you stand your ground, then those who are genuine, and even if they have preconceived mindsets, will have a grudging respect for you, because at the end of the day, you are what your actions are, not what you speak. You can speak, but you won't fool people for a very long time if it doesn't correlate with your actions. That's what I have seen.
Go ahead, Morris.
No, just resonated with Sunita because you're so right. Because they say life, like Coach Lay, they say life and death is in the power of the tongue. What you say you are, that's what you are. And when they talk about personality and talk about the real you, people can't disguise their real self will come out from inside of them. Because they don't know their self, that's where they get found out, because they're saying things that they think people are stupid. But when you're a spiritual being in this world, and you've gone through what we've gone through, Coach Ledge, and many of us, you know what's real. You know what people are saying. You know the word. And the word that you speak sometimes determines who you are. That's what I know from my journey of life. I'm no fool to somebody coming and trying. Yes, people do try, and I'm an empath. But at the end of the day, right, they always get found out. I'm sure you could agree with me, Coach Les.
Yeah, 100%, Morris. 1,000%. So really appreciate that. And I see that Annetta is off the phone. Annetta, how are you?
I promise you, Coach, I am not that popular. I don't know. Wow. Wow. Oh, Morris, this is the first time that I've had the honor to be in the same room with you, and I'm so glad it's with Coach Les. You are so right. You will be found out. Your words are life and death. And if you use them the wrong way, don't worry. Or I should say, if others are inappropriately using their words, they will be found out. We are in different times. The way you used to could talk to people, people were more gullible and so thirsty, looking for purpose, looking for life, looking for a companion, looking for just everything in all the wrong places. But they were in the right places, but the wrong people were there, and now they're being found out. They're being exposed. Communicators, we have to do our due diligence to continue speaking the word. The word. It never changes. It is the same. It will heal, it will deliver, and it will set the captives free. I know this for a fact. I know this for a fact. And many of you know this too. Coach, this today was so much needed. Thank you so much for putting this room, you and Sujata. God bless you. I yield.
It set me free. It set me free.
Hallelujah. You're not the only one, Morris, but continue to keep pressing forward. Continue it because you know who you are and nobody can take that away.
Yep, 100%. 100%. It's really great. Thank you so much, Annetta. Thank you, Morris. And we've got 2 new people up on stage. And just to do a short recap, we've been talking a little bit about hard work. What does it take to get hard work? We've spent a little bit of time talking about followers. You know, what is it to be on social media with followers and how do we get them? Where's the integrity in that? Because some people buy them. Some people have learned that, I can invest $20,000 and buy 100,000 followers, and then I'm going to look good. Well, then you get found out because when you get up on stage or you open a room and people come in, there's no depth, there's no quote unquote soul to who you are and what you're delivering. And people get found out, right? People get completely found out when they come up on stage. And there's 3 ways that you can distinguish this, right? In hard work: faith, family, and business. And in today's world, thanks to these amazing things, and because I got one that I'm not using at the moment, one of these things called a smartphone, thanks to that and iPads, we're no longer separating those 3 worlds with integrity. We're collapsing those 3 worlds. So what does that mean? That means, to me, as a coach, I want to make sure that those 3 worlds promote integrity. How do we do that? We look at, are you being authentic with your faith? Does the way that you say your faith is? Now, notice I'm not saying Christian, I'm not saying Muslim, I'm not saying Hindi, I'm saying faith, whatever your faith is. Are you using that faith as a crutch, as a flag, or are you allowing that faith to be the foundation of who you are? And then the demonstration of who you are. Secondly, with family, I share and have really created an opportunity for people. Your family, the way that I know you have integrity with your family, I look at your family and I hear from your family that they are your number 1 client, that they have the integrity of understanding how important they are, which doesn't mean, by the way, they get 100% of what they ask for. Just like your number 1 client doesn't get 100% of what they ask for. What it means is that you're in communication and you're creating workability. And when you make a poop or a mess in your family, you clean it up and you restore the integrity and the workability. And then same thing in your business, that you're doing business every single day with integrity. When I show up as a coach here on the platform, I show up with integrity. When I show up with a client that's paying me a significant amount and ends up being 5 figures at the end of the year, that they have the same experience of, and vice versa, of the person that is paying me $500 a month, which it could be a sixth of what one of my corporate clients is paying me, but yet they have that same experience of being leveled up as if they were paying $5,000 a month. Now, why? Because for me, that's the integrity of the services that we give. It's not, oh, you're only paying this much, so I'm going to give you a bunch of videos. I'm going to give you, a whole bunch of assignments and tell you to go do it, watch my YouTubes, and then come back and talk to me and not be self-invested. So the integrity of who you are, faith, family, and business. What does that look like? How does that show up for you? And hard work is at the foundation of each of those three. And as we said before, and one of the things that Joey was saying, that hard work can look differently for different people. Somebody that's sitting in front of a typewriter, in front of a keyboard, excuse me. I just was talking about typewriters yesterday. For those of you that remember what a typewriter is, with one of those little golf balls that used to spin around that had all the letters on it, an IBM Selectric. We were talking about it yesterday, so that's why typewriters was on the tip of my tongue. But people that sit in front of a keyboard or answer a phone. Now, you know what? I call those people the gatekeepers, and I respect them as much as I respect the CEO. Why? Because that gatekeeper can get me to the CEO if I'm polite and I treat them with respect like a human being. I was in sharing with somebody this morning that the quote unquote janitor at the business that I worked at for 23 years, that I knew the whole time, was one of those people that they write about in a book called The Millionaire Next Door. And he never made more than $40,000 a year. And yet he was a millionaire next door. How's that possible? He had a wife and a kid, and he put his kid through, paid full college. He and his wife had new cars every 3 years because he was clever with his finances. He wasn't like me that spent 10 grand one year at Caribou. He brought coffee in a thermos. He brought his lunch in a paper bag, brown paper bag. And he brought chips in a Ziploc baggie that he reused. He said, I reuse my Ziploc baggies for the whole week. Sometimes at the end of the week, they have a hole in them. And I was just amazed. And over the years, I got to know him. He says, Les, you're the only person that talks to me every day. And he knew about my promotions before I did. Why? Because he watched for my name in corporate documents. So you never know who the people are around you. You never know the benefits of being connected. Never know the benefits of hard work. Why did I meet the janitor? Because I was there after hours. Brother Joey, who's been in the restaurant business, will resonate with this one. One of my favorite stories on how to treat people is a restaurant in Minneapolis, Minnesota, that was a fine dining restaurant that had a beautiful grand piano. The restaurant was in the middle of this courtyard in this building, beautiful glass building, courtyard. When you played the piano, the audio was unbelievable how it sounded in this courtyard. And the restaurant was in this courtyard. And the piano player had been there about 5 years, the same length at the time that the restaurant had been open. And the general manager that was there was not a nice person. She was very antagonistic. She was very demeaning to both men and women. She was great with customers, but not with employees. And finally, all of a sudden, one day, she went to the piano player and she just blew up on him for some reason. And he got on his cell phone while she was talking to him. And she just lit into him. What are you doing? Using your cell phone. You're not allowed to use your cell phone. And he was calling security. And he called security, and security came. And she turned around and said, I'm so glad that you're here. I want you to escort this piano player out of here. And they both looked at her and then looked at the piano player. And the piano player just nodded. And literally, they looked at the manager and said, ma'am, we're escorting you out of the building. Just so you know, the piano player bought the restaurant 2 weeks ago. And he's sick and tired of you, and he wanted us on standby. So we know immediately why we were called. So you never, ever know. And, she was not a hard worker. She was a hard BSer. And she was cruel and mean. So with that, I'm going to hand the mic to Sujata, have her share some words. I want to be responsible for the time. Thank you so much. I can see we're coming up on almost 2 hours. And I want to be responsible for those of you that are hanging in there, because you don't want to miss a word. And we'll pick it up tomorrow evening at 9:30. And I think we'll continue this topic, even though the room's a little bit different. We'll put a little added flair and sugar and spice and something nice into it tomorrow. And with that, I hand the mic over to Sujata.
That was a lovely story. And there are such real life stories, which happen, and it's true. You never know who they are. And, we always judge people by their appearances. We judge people by so many superfluous things. We don't really get to know the person. And that's exactly the problem, because you judge them and you put them in a box the moment you see them is the biggest mistake that you make. There's a phrase in English, right, which I didn't create. It says, don't judge a book by its cover. Right?
Yes.
So, yeah, that's about it. It was a very engaging and lively room today, and very passionate as well. And I really like that, because we do like a little, people to get provoked or provoke them into, sharing their insights or their perspectives. I just love it. And thank you, everybody, for being there.
Yes, thank you. And I want to take a moment here. What I'd like to do is I'd love to hear a minute or 2-minute share, and if you don't have a minute, don't worry, from everybody before up on stage that would like to contribute. And we'll just go in PTR order. And then we'll do my famous blow up the room. And while everybody's sharing, I'm going to pin up the room for tomorrow. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Brother Joey.
It's just another great room. I appreciate the time and all the shares. And I think, it's a topic worth talking about. A lot was said today and a lot was discussed. For me, the biggest takeaway is we don't know what somebody else is doing, and to put a definition on what hard work is, to define that is a slippery slope. It's because I don't believe that we're able to really capture that. What I think is hard work, and what I'm doing, and then what the person sitting next to me, and what appears to be a lack of hard work. What do I know? I don't know. I don't know that person. I don't know what they're doing. I don't know what they have going on. And with what if we go back to social media, if we go back to Clubhouse, or if we go back to any of these platforms, like your story of the model, what we see, what we're allowed to see, is the final picture, whether it's Sports Illustrated or whether it's GQ magazine or whatever it may be. What we may see on the red carpet is a snapshot of what they're allowing us to see, but we don't see behind the scenes. I'm Joey. I'm in the top right-hand corner, and I yield the mic.
Thank you so much, Brother Joey. And with that, I'll pass it to Terry.
Oh, thank you, Coach Les. Well, it's been a wow session being with all of you, and I just wanted to appreciate you and Sujata for the room and all of us coming together with this discussion. And it is a lot to share and take in and learn from each other. I love the learning from each other. Thank you, Coach, for pinging me in this evening. I've really been honored to be here, and I just want to appreciate everyone, and please come back. Please come back to the room at our next session and enjoy the great conversation and shares. And it's been wonderful getting to know each of you a little bit as we go along, and I hope to get to know more of you even more. Thank you. I'm Terry. I love you all. Thank you so much, Coach.
You're very welcome, Terry. And pass the mic over to you, Mr. Morris. Are you there by any chance, Morris?
He must have stepped away.
I hope he didn't fall asleep on us. It's midnight. After midnight there.
Amen.
That's
it
my
is.
job to fall asleep in rooms.
Oh, Connie, we all have done it. We all have done it, and we all still do it. Annetta, do you want to give us your closing?
Yes, sir. Now that I had an opportunity to read some profiles, Mr. Morris, truly an honor, sir. You are the real deal. You are the real deal. And I'm glad I heard it before I read it. So what I read, I know it's true because of what I heard and how it made me feel. Maya Angelou says people will forget what you do, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. I yield the mic. Thank you, Coach Les. Sujata, thank you.
You are so welcome. And with that, I pass the mic over to Jenny.
Hi everyone, good morning. I've got nothing to say.
No worries. I just want to make sure you always have an opportunity to share something, okay?
Okay, thank you.
Oh, you're welcome, Jenny.
Just say thank you for this room. Thank you for the warm welcome, and thank God for every day. Thank you.
And I have to say, you look beautiful dressed up with your necklace and your beautiful dress at a fine dining room. Woohoo!
Yeah, that was my sister's wedding dinner.
Ah.
My sister got married in end of February. Yes, this was taken in end of February.
All right. Did you catch the bouquet, Jenny?
No, there's no bouquet. It was just a simple dinner.
Oh.
Yes, my sister's second wedding. Yeah.
Okay. All right. I was praying for you there for a moment.
Thank you. Wow. I mean, it'd be nice if I can catch a bouquet.
Awesome. Well, congratulations. And with that, I'm going to pass the microphone to Connie. Hi, Connie.
Hey, how you doing?
You know, I'm gonna say this with as much transparency and love as I can. I'm ready to close the room.
You sound like you're tired. I picked up 2 prescriptions, so I said, let me get myself one in because I was just as tired as I could be. I left out the house at 9 to, run some errands and take phone calls and stuff like that. And I'm like, I'm tired. But I just want to say that I was inspired by you all, and I guess maybe your spirit was ushering in this verse, because I just kept, reading it over and over again and listening to a song, and I was like, my mouth is created, to praise him. And so I was looking at, then he said to me, prophesy to these bones and say to them dry bones, hear the word of the Lord. It doesn't matter how you get followers, but no 2 people are like, if you follow me on social media, I'll follow you back. If I can't follow you back, then I won't let you follow me. So the thing I'd say is I must be doing something right, because I'm not going to grab a cloak, but I'm not going to open a room without the ushering of the word of God, because cloak or not, it's a good cloak. And I say that because it could be worse cloaks. So if you don't like me, you don't like Jesus. And I must be doing something right. There isn't a day or a room that I go in that someone's not quoting something off my page, or something that I put in the chat, or something that they argue me down, to quiet me or move me back to the audience. So I said to myself, you must be doing something right, because every day people are repeating your words, and they're really not my words. They're the person who breathes breath in me words. That's who they are. And you're right. There are lots of ways people get followings on social media. Like I said, I have a big one, and I walk away from groups. Like I had Billy Graham, 50K, started that group off with 200. And people got greedy, and the guy started bringing on new admins. And I walked away because I don't hold no hostages, and I don't tolerate no BS from anybody. Don't give it and don't tolerate it. But the thing about it is I worked hard. I posted every day. I stayed in the spirit. So a lot of times people would say the same things I was saying as I was saying it. I mean, I even celebrated this man's life before he was one of the front men, sing for Billy Graham. Celebrate his life before they announced he was dead. So I like that when I say something before, after you say it, and we both talking about the same thing. I like that. But, I can see here that a lot of rooms, the people will go on the spirit of the room. That mean they might get scammed. That might mean they might be misguided. They may get clipped, meaning they won't have an account here. I want my account here until the rapture comes get me. That's what I want. I'm an evangelist. I'm not an elder of a physical church. An elder directs the way the church should behave. At the same time, I only tell you what you ask me. But yeah, at 56, I worked hard to get a large following. But you have these young people on this app who will tell you you're not a headliner, you're not mainstream. Only in your world. Maybe only in this app. So, but it doesn't matter, because I may have a large following, but I follow all those people back. And I don't ask for anything either. I never take donations. I give of my time. I realize I'm a steward, and that I can share the spotlight. You can post. You know, maybe one day when I do rooms, you can go in there and do a room. But you do have to be careful on this app, you know, what you do, because you could be clipped. And I have a distinct job, and that is to say whatever it is I need to say about, you know, Jesus. And I want to do that until I get raptured. So, yeah, just be very careful about what rooms you go in, more so because, like, let's say we don't know how they got to follow, you know, the followers. We can't explain the algorithms, and we do know that people use bots on apps. On-demand apps are not limited to apps like Clubhouse. So with that being said, that's a very interesting, you know, topic that you had, Les, because, you know, I listen to these young people and I'm like, you know, they don't even, you know, consider, you know, what I've accomplished online or in social media. They think they're the only ones with a following. But that's why I made my profile private, because I was like, every day someone's going up there, you know, talking about my talking points, you know, like that. And so, you know, I said to myself, a little disagreement, because that's not the talking points I would use. I don't find that historically, scholarly correct, you know, because I use citations. But that's a very, very good conversation that only the mature would talk about. You're not going to get that in any room. So I yield my mic.
Thank you so much, Connie. Appreciate you. And with that, I'm going to pass the mic to Jolanta. Uh-oh.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. And yourself?
I'm doing good. I'm actually liking this conversation because I've been like I've been that person that people fish a lot into some of their things because I'm young and I'm dumb sometimes. And so I kind of have a love-hate relationship with this app. And Connie, I'm like you. I can empathize with you because I just made my Clubhouse profile private. There's just so many people that claim to feel like they know, or they claim to be like this person, or they're really not.
They're really not. I sat there and I said to a guy, I said, let's talk about some information that I gathered up, because it took me a year to figure it out. And he got real quiet, and I was like, he's not who he say he is. These people, they will claim to be anything, but because you didn't make your profile private earlier, they basically were talking about your scholarly work and leaving you out of the conversation, which I said earlier, do not call my name unless I'm in the conversation. Right. But yeah, because that's how people is, you know. My mom raised us by herself, and people thought we was gonna mount up to nothing. When they start seeing how we was living and our accomplishments for what we do for other people, their mouths were shut. Their mouths were shut.
Yeah, so I'm just kind of, it baffles me sometimes because I'll get people, random guys, just randomly hit on me on this app. Like, dude, I'm married. Leave me alone. Go away. People that want to sell me Bitcoin stuff or crypto. I'm like, I have no interest in that. And when you brought up about the following, there's something, someone mentioned it today about fake it till you make it. I don't buy into that stuff. I can see right through when people are faking online, because I have a friend that did that. I don't know how stupid he thinks that people are, but like, his business is just sketchy and it's not run properly. It's not ethical the way that he runs his business. And I don't do business like that. I actually pay people that I work with. And so he had his Instagram account went from like, I don't know, he was like at 900 followers. I'm just going to give you an example. And all of a sudden he went up to like 2 million followers or something. Like, I know you bought followers. There's no way that you have 2 million real followers, and that you're cheating the system, and you're cheating yourself, basically, if you don't do it on your own. If I'm growing an account, I grow my own stuff from scratch. I don't cheat. I don't like to cheat. And even if there are bots.
And I just want to take a quick moment to end the broadcast today. Sujata left, and we're going to be closing down the clubhouse room. And I just want to say thank you to everybody who was here. I know we just passed the 2-hour time. Appreciate you. Thank you all so much for being here today, and look forward to seeing you again.
Coaching with Les has doubled my practice.
We've increased our sales by about 33%, of blowing all of our goals out of the water.
In my first 6 months, I actually grew my business with his help over 500%. Literally 500%.
Les Hill is the type of person that invests back in you and back into your company. So if you're looking for a business coach with integrity, choose Les Hill.